Hey, what's up, dudes? Alright. Today, we might finish this. Today may be the day that I finish the new feature. Been working on for about 3 months. I don't know, it's been a while, maybe longer. And no, it's about 3 months. But we are coming to a close here. Stopped at line 220. So let's go over there. Jump right in. Okay. Okay, that's right. We were working on a side quest, whatever. So we were modifying this object access from string function to handle not only getting the object from the string name for when we're saving, but to also handle the setting of the attribute in the case of loading. And you know, couldn't we just say if save or load string is equal to s, you do for part in parts? Well, no, because you do want to get it the first time around. Even when it's for loading, you want to use the for part in parts. You want to do object equals get adder object part to get the object from the global namespace. So like P1 or P1 game or whatever. You use the get adder to grab the P1 from the global namespace, and then it sets iter to 2. So for the second iteration, it would go else, and if it's save or load at that point, then we would do the same thing again. But if it's loading, we would set the adder of the object, P1's hand per se, equal to the value, whatever it is that we want to set it to. And we have this line here, so I think this code is correct. And then at the end we have if save or load string is equal to s. We have if save or load string is equal to s, we would then return the object. But that's only in the case of if we're saving. Okay, and we need to add in save or load string arg passing to function calls, especially for saving. Okay, so now let's add the comment for the saver, and let me just think. So now this does access the object from a string function. but it also sets adder. So it's object access or set adder. Or set adder from string function. Add comment for save or load, so let's do that. And let's do value as well. Okay, so we have a bit of a problem here. So the issue is we are saving using the current game namespace. Because originally we were like, okay, what we're gonna do is we're gonna save from client pi, which is true, but that is gonna be done through the save state function. And the way that that works is it's going to have, it would have access to whatever current game is. But whenever you're loading, this function doesn't know what current game is. It has no idea what current game is. So how do we make it so that it knows what current game is? Or do we have to change the way that that is referred to? Like, do we have to make it explicitly say P1 game or P2 game? If we were to do that, then we would have to modify the way in which it was saved, or we would have to, like, basically convert it. So the simplest thing, obviously, would be to just leave it as it is, as current game, and then we would somehow determine what current game is. So I guess what we could do would be to pass current game to the load state function, so that whenever it is called, it will just basically know, hey, this is the object that we're working with. And I feel like that would work. I think that would be the way to do it. And we use insert here for each card using the skeleton ID to the current game clickable card list. Why is this the clickable card list? Is this the only one that's a 2 or something? Well, that doesn't make sense, does it? Yeah, I don't know why we only have clickable card lists here. So there's a few different little issues here. If we were to use object access, this function, it wouldn't work completely perfectly because of the fact that, well, it would need to know that we're handling the current game's clickable card list. So I think what we would do, what do we really want to do with the object access in this case? In this case, we just want to, we really want to just convert the string to an object. It's that simple. Which makes me think, well, maybe this should just return the object, and then well, this wouldn't be P1 hand. It would be something that is like, let's just say P1 name. Because that's actually a card group, so that would actually be not this one. So if we did object get adder, and it was P1 hand as a card group, and then we said, well, no, because then we would just be reassigning what the object namespace refers to. If we just did object equals the value, so we do have to use set adder. But for this case, that actually wouldn't work. So it'd work for, like, this is fine. But when the classification ID is not 1, we'd be iterating through the object value, which in this case would be the card list. Iter through skeletonized card list. Okay, and then we would insert each card using the skeleton ID to the, well, to whatever one it would be. They have more than one than just a clickable card list. So we would like change this to be card list dot insert, and we're inserting first the location and then the card object. See, insert. How come it doesn't tell me the params? Usually it'll tell me the params and stuff. Okay, so we have the list, insert, and then, okay, well, we'll just say card list insert. Okay. Now maybe it'll work. Okay, there we go. So it takes the index first and then the object. So the index here is going to be the length of the card list. And then it's going to take the object that it's going to insert, and it's going to insert the card object. So the card object is going to be the game dot card group dictionary at ID. Isn't that how that works? Game dot card group dict at int of card ID. Game.cardGroupDict at ID. Freddy and object value card object use game. Okay, so now we have the card object. Now we need to insert at the index, and this inserts at end of list to be in proper order. So how do we get the card list? The actual card list is equal to well, couldn't we just use self.object_access and then pass in the object name? Because this returns yeah, because this should return the actual P1 hand, because that's what it does. It returns the object if saver load string is S. So even though we're loading it, we could modify like so. It's not S or L for saver load. It would just be like G for get, S for set. How about that? G for get, S for set. Yeah, that makes sense. Change to change save or load string param to be called get or set string instead, to reflect fact that sometimes we want to use get adder instead of set adder for loading. More accurate naming. And then we could just make the string args be G or S for get or set, instead of S or L for save or load. Do it make sense, dog? It do. It do. It do. Alright, continue. Actual card list equals self.object access or set adder from string function. Card object equals game.card object ID. Actual card list equals self.object access or set adder from string func. Passing in the object name turns the actual card list from the global namespace. Right, and it should, because then it's just going to return the object, and the object would be the actual attribute itself. So let me test that though, because I'm not 100% sure about this. Let's see. So let's go ahead and create. What are we gonna do? So we're gonna have a class CLS def init. We're gonna have self.x equals 1. Then we're gonna say c equals CLS, and then we'll do object equals get adder c and then x, and then, well, it's immutable, so let's do it's immutable. Well, yeah, in this case it would be immutable, so we'll just say it's 1 2 3. So then we're gonna do c at L, and now we're gonna do object dot append. We'll say object insert at length of object dot L or c dot L, and then we'll insert 4, and then we're gonna is that it? And then print c.l, and then print object. It works, baby. It works, baby. It fucking works, baby. Oh, god damn. I didn't sleep last night. I slept like 5 hours. Couldn't fall asleep. Motherfucker, man. But hey, it's all good, bro. It's all good. Now, so this is gonna be called mutable object ref using getAtter 6:12:25. Reminder that if you use getAtter to retrieve a mutable attribute from a class instance, that you can modify that instance adder via the namespace of the variable assigned to that retrieved adder. Yay! Alright, there we go. So we did it. Class CLS def in itself, self L 1 2 3 C CLS object get adder CL blah blah blah. Why I got a tummy ache? I don't know. I got a tummy ache. Ooh shit. Uh-oh, I got a tummy ache, boys. It's not good. Okay, so we have the actual card list. So then we can do actual card list insert. Wait a second. Why do we have to do insert? Why don't we just do equals? Oh, right, because it has to retain must use insert. I use the potty. I gotta go, bro. I gotta go, you know what I'm saying? I gotta go. I'll be right back. When you gotta go. because a large portion of them are evil criminals. And the rest of them, well, we don't know who they are because they came here undocumented. Relax, my dude. We both know you wouldn't touch me. That wouldn't turn out good. I'm not a Nazi. Everyone knows that they have a higher chance of being a criminal. Countries literally emptied their prisons and insane asylums and pretty much sent them over here. And the whole point of it is the fact that we don't know who they are. Gotta reset the timer for like 20 minutes to knock this out here. Okay. Okay, so we have for ID and object value, that's going to iterate through the skeleton card list. It says, remember that this implies the perfect order of the card group dictionary, aka the ID of cards must be assigned after shuffle is run. So then we have card object equals game dot card group dict add the ID. So that's going to access the actual card object through the card group dictionary using the ID. Then we're going to get the actual card list by using self object access or set adder from string function, passing in the object name, and that is going to return us the actual P1 hand. And then we use actual card list dot insert, and we use the length of actual card list because that's how you place a it at the end of a list. Using insert is by using the length of the list, and we're inserting the card object there at the end of the list to be in the same order. So now why do we have card list equals empty grid? We don't need that, right? Okay, so I think that's it, right? Yeah, if classification ID is 2, if it's a card list, we iterate through the deserialized object value, which is going to be just a list of integers because it was skeletonized upon serialization. It was just a list of IDs. We get the card object using the card group dictionary using that ID. Then we get the actual card list returned through that function call with the object name passed to it, so like P1 hand or whatever. And then we will insert the cards into the actual card list. Yeah. I think that's right. Like I feel like that's what we'd want to do, and that should take care of everything. I think must use insert since we can't simply reassign using equal because we have to retain the fact that most or all of these objects are custom appendless instances, etc. Actual card list insert into list. There we go. Okay, now we can move on to number 3. So this is below section classification is the meld list. The list needs to be converted to scales, blah 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 blah. Deserialize the skeleton list. So basically we do the same thing as this. It's like the same thing. Insert each card. The only difference here. Oops, this is not the right spot. If classification ID is equal to 3. For ID and object value, iterate through the skeletonized card list. Remember, it's a buzzword order. So this is actually for list and object value. So this is iter through the skeleton, the meld list. and then we need to say for ID in list. So now we are okay, this one's a little bit different, isn't it? So we iterate through the object value, which is going to be a list of lists of integers. And we're going to iterate through each list, the inner list. We need to first retrieve the actual card list. So wait, for ID and object value. Oh, wait a second. We would want to get the actual card list prior. Right? Yeah, we would say actual card list equals. Yeah, so that gives us the actual card list. And then we have the ID and object value. We get the card object, and then we insert it into the actual card list. Okay, yeah, that's the right way to do it, I think. So that would be the case here. We would want to do actual card list first. Actual card list equals self.object access or set adder from string function object name. Okay, then we say for list in object value. So this is the actual meld list. This is a meld list. Then we iterate through. So then we have index. Well, it's gonna be empty, so we're gonna have to like add. We're gonna have to append or insert. Are the inner melds custom append list instances in progression? So like if we do melds, let's see, so let's say dot melds dot append, so the temp meld is a custom append list instance. So that's what we need. We need them to be custom append list instances. So let's see, the classification ID is equal to 3 extra meld list equals blah 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 blah. For list and object value, for ID and list. So for each list, we would do actual meld list. Because at this point, they would just be empty, right? We would insert. I mean, and you can insert a list, right? So then we would do insert at the length of the actual meld list, and we're going to insert the, well, we're going to create a custom append list, but we would need the ID. Oh yeah, we said we would have to pass the game object to load function, right? wouldn't we need to pass in the See, so the object name here is just going to be current game, but it doesn't actually know which one is the current game. So whenever we call from the whenever we call the load state function from client, we would either have to pass to it the actual current game object or the current game object ID. Yeah, so we need to figure out a way to solve this. Like, how are we gonna do that? Are we gonna pass in the game object and then we would say like, well, this is for card list. Let's see if any of them in 2. Well, whenever we operate on the master deck or the discard pile, so we have the discard pile, the deck, the clickable card list, the click card list. So all this requires the importation of these objects, because this, I don't think this function, the load function being called from client pi, is going to know, like, it looks in the local scope and then it looks in the global scope. I don't know if we have these objects existing in the global through import into client pi, and then we access them using globals inside of this function. Would that work? Or would we have to pass them to the function? I can't really remember. That's something I'll have to ask ChatGPT. And that'll be the last thing we do probably. So if you have Python 3, let's see. If we have a file, client pi, which imports other files such as game pi, or imports objects such as P1 game, P1, P2, and we also import a function from save file.py, which tries to access these objects. Would it work, or would we have to pass the objects to that function directly via arg passing or something. In Python, if ClientPy imports P1 game, P2, and P2 as global objects, and then calls the function from save file, the function in save file will not automatically have access to those objects unless they are explicitly passed as arguments or are imported inside save file from ClientPy, or accessed dynamically via something like sysmodules or Python's global namespace. Dynamic access. If you really want to access them dynamically, you'd say main mod equals sysmodules main. This only works if ClientPy is the script being run directly. The variables are defined in the global namespace. It's useful for REPLs or tooling, but not recommended in regular program structure. You should pass objects explicitly as arguments. It avoids problems with circular dependencies, keeps code modular, and makes functions easier to test and maintain. Personally, I just feel like it's okay to use the sysmodules thing, but I'm just not sure if that would work. I don't know. Maybe it will work. So I guess we'll just test it and see, right? We'll just assume that it is gonna work, because it does use the global namespace, and it would be ultimately, main would ultimately be ClientPy, and ClientPy does have them in the global namespace. Yeah, if ClientPy imported these objects directly, wouldn't they be in the global namespace available through sysmodules? Yes, if ClientPy is the main script being executed, then the objects it imports or defines at the top level will be in the main module, which you can access via sys. So this actually might work straight up as it is. Cool. Okay, so I think it actually would work. So we don't really need to like modify that. Actual meld list insert length actual meld list, but we do see we do need to create the custom append list. And we don't know that. But if we have the actual meld list, then we should, that means it's a custom append list. So we should be able to get the, don't they have like an ID? Yeah, they do. Assigned immediately below based on card group name. Yeah, so they intrinsically have an ID, so we can just use the self ID. So we would say actual meld list insert. So for each list in the object value, Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah, so we would say if actual meld list dot id is equal to 1, then inner list equals custom append list. Fuck, but we need the name. So we're gonna stop here. So this is 334. Okay, so we're that close. We are that close. All we have to do is finish number 3 here, and then finish number 4. And that's it, dude. So as soon as I come back from the gym and shit, we're gonna try to finish. And yeah, so. All right, see you in a little bit. We'll well, actually, I need to make a local copy. I'm tripping. Got a little bit ahead of myself there.